Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be testing out the 5.56 against the 7.62 by 51 and against the 308. Now the bullet on the far left is the 5.56 77 grain open tip match. Many people have thought that if you're not going to go 308 and if you're going to go 5.56, that your very best option for 5.56 is probably that bullet that you're looking at right there, the 77 grain open tip match. The bullet in the middle is the 7.62 by 51 147 grain NATO ball ammo. And on the far right is the Federal gold medal match 168 grain hollow point. We're going to start by shooting at some steel at a distance of 200 yards. Now while we're shooting at the steel, I'm also going to be chronographing those rounds to give you, some pretty good data on what kind of speed and energy numbers they actually have. Now the purpose of shooting at the steel is twofold. One, it'll give us a little bit of a chance to test out the accuracy on those rounds. And two, it'll give us just a kind of a general feel for what kind of energy they hit with at a distance of 200 yards. After that, we're going to go ahead and shoot at some 25-pound blocks of clay using the 5.56 and using whichever of those two bullets on the right gives me the best chance for accuracy. Once we've done that, we're going to come back in here and we'll take a look at the numbers that I've chronographed, and that'll give us a chance to analyze what we just saw at 200 yards. At that point, you might be satisfied and you might feel like you really like the 308 and now you have a better understanding of why. You might feel like you like the 5.56 and now you have a better understanding of why. Or you might feel like, I like the performance of the 308, but it's a little bit too much of a good thing. I also like the performance of the 5.56, but I don't know if it offers me enough of what the 308 delivers. But yet I'm not ready to walk away from 5.56 because I like the idea of carrying more ammunition. Is there anything middle of the road? Is there anything that performs a little bit more like the 308, but still gives me the ability to carry a lot of ammo like what I get with the 5.56? If that's how you're feeling about things, we might have a dark horse option that we're going to examine, and we'll go test that one as well. If you like today's video, please remember to click the like button, do subscribe, and turn on that notifications icon if you haven't already done so. And as always, we're looking forward to your comments. Let's go to work. We're getting ready to shoot at this steel target from a distance of 200 yards using the 5.56. The ammunition will be the 77 grain open tip match by 6 Sauer. Walking up right now to the steel target that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards using 5.56 77 grain open tip match by 6 Sauer. 3-shot group. Fits within inside of the palm of my hand. It didn't hurt that I was running the scope on 16 power. We're getting ready to shoot at this target from a distance of 200 yards using the 7.62 by 51. The ammunition will be by Magtech. It is the 147 grain NATO ball. Walking up right now to the steel target that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with the 7.62 by 51 147 grain NATO ball. This was the first shot. Everything started off looking rather promising. Then it got pretty wild after that. We're getting ready to shoot at this steel target from a distance of 200 yards using the .308. The ammunition will be the Federal Gold Medal Match 168 grain hollow point. Walking up right now to the steel target that was just now hit at a distance of 200 yards using .308, 168 grain gold medal match. Keep in mind, just minutes earlier, you saw a group from the exact same rifle on the exact same day where I hit here, way up here, and way down here with a different brand of ammo, just shooting bulk ammo. Minutes later, now look at me. So keep in mind, bulk ammo can sometimes make you look worse than what you really are. Match ammo makes you look a little better than what you really are. Truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Same target, same ammo, still the 168 grain gold medal match. Off camera, I had to go ahead and shoot 2 more rounds because I'm chronographing as well and I wanted a 5-shot average. So I just went ahead and quickly just put 2 more rounds on target. The sticker was gone, really didn't have much to aim at, but you get the idea. Now you got 5 rounds within the palm of my hand, 200 yards. We're getting ready to shoot at this 25-pound block of clay from a distance of 200 yards using the .308. The ammunition will be the 168 grain hollow point Federal Gold Medal Match. Well, we're walking up right now to the 25-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with a .308. The ammunition, once again, was the Federal Gold Medal Match, 168 grain hollow point. Looks like we were pretty much dead center, left and right. Maybe a little, maybe, I don't know, ½ inch higher, 1 inch higher than I would have liked to have been. But I do think it's going to be close enough to perfect to give us a feel for what that bullet does. Here is the back of that clay. Just here's the size of my hand. You can see it just put a massive cavity there. The very first water jug that was in line afterward, just an absolute mess. And it seems like that might be a little bit of a bullet fragment right there. We'll set him off to the side. The second water jug in line, I think we may find a little more bullet fragment down in there. I'll try to pour that out in a moment for you. The third water jug in line, you can see that the bullet pretty much went in right there. Went out right there. What's interesting about this hole right here, this hole looks like the bullet probably wasn't tumbling or anything. That's more or less a clean circle right there. So that was your third water jug in line. I don't see much in the way of bullet fragments in there, maybe one small bullet fragment. And it looks like that bullet probably ripped right out the back. Yeah, so it ripped out the back. We will not be recovering that one today. Well, this is that 25-pound block of clay from the side. You can see where a lot of the energy even tried to escape out the top. Let's come around this side on it. Here it is from the opposite side. And here's a couple of the bullet fragments that I was able to pour out of that second water jug that was in line that just now got hit with that 308 168 grain gold medal match. We'll be shooting at this 25-pound block of clay from a distance of 200 yards using the 5.56. The ammunition will be the 77 grain open tip match by Sig Sauer. Well, we're walking up right now to the 25-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with that 77 grain open tip match 5.56 ammo from Sig Sauer. Before we get to the block of clay, on the ground here, this is the target that I had on the block of clay. Looks like I hit the target just a little bit on the high side, a little high to the right. And the block of clay itself looks like that was a good enough hit to give us the results that we needed. Size of my hand for comparison. Really opened up that clay. When you look at it on the side, you can see how it pushed the face out of the clay. A lot of energy tried to escape out the top. Maybe the bullet tried to escape out the back, but it was not successful. This water jug behind it, completely unharmed. A little dirty, but unharmed. It looks like there's a little bit of bullet fragment recovered right here. But from what I can tell, the bullet more or less completely fragmented in the block of clay without making it through the block of clay. Well, the block of clay on the left was hit with that 77 grain open tip match 5.56, and the block of clay on the right was hit with 308 168 grain hollow point gold medal match. Obviously, there was a massive entrance hole, much bigger on the 5.56 than on the 308. On the exit side, though, the 308 really took care of business on the exit side, and the 5.56 didn't really have too much of an exit, and as you already saw, didn't go through any water jugs, whereas the 308, that bullet is still probably circling the earth somewhere as we speak. Well, I know we have a lot of numbers to look at, but I think that we can certainly get through it if we just simply work left to right. I started out by chronographing the Magtech 7.62x51 NATO ball. Now, their advertised velocity is 2,740 feet per second, but that's out of a 22-inch test barrel. Out of the 16-inch barrel that I was using that day, I found a 5-shot average at 2,642 feet per second, so it's about 3.5% below the box claim. On the Federal gold medal match, 168 grain bullet, their claim is 2,650 feet per second, but they do not say what the barrel length was. Again, out of a 16-inch barrel, I've got those things coming in at a 5-shot average, 2,476 feet per second, about 6.5% below the box claim. In terms of the Sig Sauer 77 grain open tip match, the advertised velocity, 2,750 feet per second. Out of an 18-inch barrel, I've got those things coming in at 2,964 feet per second, which was 7.8% above the box claims. In terms of ballistic coefficient, notice that the Sig Sauer 77 grain bullet has a BC of 0.362. Notice that the 7.62x51 has a BC of 0.398. Sure, the 7.62x51 is a little better, but it's not that much better. The 77 grain bullet is certainly in the neighborhood. In terms of what happened out there at 200 yards, you obviously saw that 168 grain bullet arrived with 1,673 foot-pounds of energy, compared to only 1,036 foot-pounds of energy on that 77 grain bullet. But however, that 77 grain bullet did actually put on a pretty respectable show. It did a really good job on the clay anyway. Why is that? Well, my best theory for you is that it had more speed. 2,462 feet per second worth of speed compared to only 2,118 feet per second worth of speed on the 308. In terms of speed out there at 500 yards, it's still going to have an edge. Both your 308 168 grain bullet and the 147 grain NATO ball, they're going to be right around 1,650 feet per second at 500 yards, whereas the 77 grain bullet will be 1,808 feet per second. In fact, it's not until you reach the 900 yard mark that your 168 grain bullet, with its better ballistic coefficient of 0.462, will really pay off a big dividend for you. At that distance, you've got a speed of 1,174 feet per second on the 308 compared to 1,173 on your 77 grain 5.56. Now back to that 200 yard mark for a moment. It's probably worth noting that the 308 bullet arrived with 61% more energy overall, but your 77 grain bullet had a 16% speed advantage, which is what kept it respectable. Well, at this point you might be thinking, yeah, that 308 sure does the job, but I am a little bit concerned about overpenetration. On the other hand, the 77 grain bullet also does the job, but I don't quite know if that thing penetrates deeply enough. Keep in mind that part of why that bullet didn't penetrate very deeply is because it arrived with a ton of speed. Keep in mind that as you engage targets at 300, 400, or 500 yards, that bullet does slow down, and you should be getting better penetration. Or if you were to simply use a little bit shorter barrel length, you would also be achieving a little lower speed. I do have here a 68 grain match hollow point, which is a very similar construction. And I have also shot that one at 200 yards in the past. Notice the slower impact speed at that distance, 2297 compared to 2462. Let's see what happens when we simply slow the bullet down a little bit. Let's see if that doesn't give us a little bit better penetration, and I'll be right back with you. We'll be shooting at this 25-pound block of clay from a distance of 200 yards with a 223 using a 68 grain hollow point from Frontier. Walking up right now to the 25-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with a 223 using a 68 grain hollow point from Frontier, which is really a Hornady bullet. It looks like we may have hit him somewhere on this orange sticker. We'll take a look at the orange sticker first. I believe I hit him just a little bit on the high side, but at 200 yards we'll take it. Here's what you have left over. Can fit my hand in there pretty nicely. It looks like the bullet did pass through right there. The first water jug definitely has received some damage. It looks like there was an entry right about there, or at least hydrostatic damage right there, one of the two. More hydrostatic damage on the back side of it. Water jug number 2 unharmed. All of the rest of the water jugs seem to be unharmed. Let's put this water jug number 1 right back up here. We look inside of him. There's no bullet or bullet fragments left to be found. So that bullet, who knows? It either went out the back that way or it's down there in the mud somewhere. Your guess is as good as mine. Here's your exit side on that block of clay. And here's what it looks like from the top side. And from the other angle, you can see how it blew the face out of it also. Let's see what we have for the bottom side on this. Some indentation on the bottom. Looks like there was some downward pressure as well. Well, I realize that gets us part of the way there, but if that doesn't get you all the way there, I understand. You might be wondering, is there anything at all that's middle of the road? Something that behaves kind of like the 308 in that the bullet goes in rather small and innocuous, comes out pretty big on the back end, but yet at the same time doesn't offer quite as much penetration as the 308. If that's the bullet characteristic that you're looking for, you may want to seriously consider the 5.56 62 grain green tip bullet. Now at 200 yards, it will have a velocity of 24.52 feet per second, which is very similar to that 77 grain bullet. But this bullet will behave differently because it's not a hollow point. It is a full metal jacket round. At least that's how it's labeled. It does, however, have a steel core penetrator on the inside, meaning that once the bullet hits, the steel core penetrator will continue to push forward and punch right through the bullet jacket, causing the bullet to become a frangible round and should offer some pretty good penetration. Let's see if this bullet will behave similar to the 308, but maybe just a little bit smaller version of the 308. We'll be shooting at this 25-pound block of clay from a distance of 200 yards with a 5.56 using the 62 grain PMC X-Tac. Walking up right now to the 25-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 200 yards with a 5.56 using the 62 grain PMC X-Tac. Looks like we connected somewhere on the orange paper, so that's a good sign. Looks like I hit him probably right about there. Let's pull this off and see what we have. So there's your entrance hole right there. And on the back side, here's what we're looking at on the exit. Let's see if I can tip this up a little bit for you, get you some lighting in there. So there's your exit side right there. So it would appear that the bullet went in about 1.5 inches deep and then really started to open up at that point. Remember, that is a frangible round, and there's living proof of it right there. That's in relationship to my hand. Can easily, so let's just set this down. Can easily set my hand in there, and then on the water jug that was behind it, here's the water jug that was behind it. That was blowing up pretty good. The second water jug in line looks to be unharmed. The rest of them look to be unharmed.